Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 176 of the Terminus podcast for the weeks of January 29th, 2022. It's the Big E weekend, and boy, do I have some news from the Big E. With me, I'm your dispatcher, Ellis, otherwise known as the Admiral. With me, I have an engineer, Jacob Durbin, a fireman, TJ Scotia, a horseman, Dean Massara, and a brakeman, Jake Rail.
Hello.
Welcome all, welcome one. I am doing this, we are all doing this podcast rather late at night. I have just returned from the second day of the Big E. I am pretty tired, and I just need to get this out of the way because there's no other time that this is going to happen. I have to record Bacon Line tomorrow, if I can, and I have to record more locomotion on Tuesday because the people voted for more locomotion. So, before...
I love democracy.
I love democracy. Without further ado, the train will terminate at this station. Okay, who wants to introduce the fact that we are in Ashland? I nominate TJ.
We're in Ashland.
Thanks!
Thanks. We're in Ashland. Awesome. Cool. Thanks.
Now I'm hoping that I can leave all of that in. I'm going to leave all of that in. I'm not cutting any of that out. Okay. Yeah, we're in Ashland, Virginia. It's late at night. We might see some trains. There's no camera that I could pick that would be in daylight unless I was going to go overseas, and I didn't feel like looking that hard. So, let's get this part out of the way. First, BNSF crashed. What did they do?
Kaboom.
Oh, actually, they had a derailment onto Tehachapi. They stringlined onto Tehachapi.
Oh.
Or, sorry, no, they didn't stringline. They dumped a bunch of auto racks down the side of an embankment. So, you know, that's always fun. I hope they weren't loaded, because that's expensive. 5 days later, the current holder of the Mantle CSX Transportation hit a car. Several train cars, I glanced too quickly, derail near CSX Rail Yard in Avon. This was almost immediately after last podcast, so they really couldn't hold on to it for very long. Norfolk Southern on the 24th had two separate incidents. The first one was widely reported, where a flaming locomotive was going down the tracks. It looks insane. And normally you see locomotives smoking or fire coming out the stack or whatever. No, this is the whole body of the engine is engulfed in flames, and it's moving.
That sucker
awesome.
was on fire.
Yeah. And also the same day, they derailed also auto racks in front of a Wolverine Amtrak train. I think it's a Wolverine.
I didn't hear about that. That's Michigan line.
Yeah, it tipped over the other way, but apparently some debris ended up in front of the train, or in front of the Amtrak train. So no concurrent derailment there, but also BNSF. Just today being the day we're filming, not the date on the podcast, a 9-year-old was hit by a BNSF train, but was okay. Which is not something that many people hit by a BNSF train can say.
This has gotta have been walked away.
Yeah, I mean, children are made out of rubber, and the image they used for the article is 4014. So no, it wasn't 4014 hitting somebody, it was BNSF, probably GEVOs on stacks. You know.
GEVOs do that.
Yeah.
They
GEVOs they're a menace, actually. They target children specifically. Hey, a train. On that note, Canadian Pacific is now the holder of the mantle, having had an accident on the first of the year and not one since. So, good job, Canadian Pacific. As a trophy, we shall gift you Kansas City Southern. So you can look at the links to all these accidents in the Class 1 Mantle of Responsibility section of the cargoes down below. It's a Google Doc. I can't put the whole cargoes in the description anymore, it's too long.
Oh, there goes the train.
and there goes the train. Well, they made a 5-second station stop. I wonder if they're late. Nobody check the Amtracker. Don't nobody look. Don't nobody cheat.
Metal machine.
We will answer the question, who is the biggest loser?
God, that clock face is effing blue and bright.
It is extremely bright. That's the first thing I noticed when I turned the video on.
Yeah, it's just a lantern.
I wanted to say, though, I have plenty to talk about from the Big E. Does anybody want to go before me?
I mean, I could go on a semi-related on topic. I bought a thing. If you scroll up, don't
If I screw up.
don't screw up, don't
You
screw
bought-
up, please.
You bought
I
this,
bought-
and I saw what you named it, and I went, of course you did.
Yeah. So it's a United PFM 2662 Malay that I have named as Sisyphus.
Beautiful.
It is all brass. It is in pretty rough shape.
What is with
must
the
say.
tender?
What do you mean?
The third picture of the the tender is jammed underneath the cab. That's why it looks like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it is a broken, I promise.
I mean,
But-
I've seen worse.
I mean,
Yeah.
like it runs asterisk, but whenever I am running it, it just quickly builds up like guns. So I need to take it off and just clean it off and do it again.
Yeah.
It's a whole ordeal.
hmm
Hmm.
Those PFM 2662s can be tuned up sweet, though. Northwest Shortline does gear drives that go good in them, and can motor would not go amiss. New pickups if you're really feeling froggish.
That's really cool.
I mean, I might do it one day. I have no idea. Money.
I've looked into one because of the Goran defeated 38. Well, he had a number of them. Anyway,
Anyway, I would like to see this thing at the Providence Northern someday, if we still have a Providence Northern.
Well, it
Uh,
won't be running because it's DC only.
You know, that's quitters talk. But just a word worth saying, there's something going on with the Grange, the owners of the building. I don't know what, some sort of infighting, I'm not sure, but they might be in hot water, and as a consequence, the Providence Northern might also be in hot water. There were a couple of very alarming emails that went out, but nobody seems to know very much. We're going to talk about it at the meeting in about a week. A couple of people were saying that they're not particularly concerned. A couple of people are confused. I'm not sure exactly who the alarmed persons are, but I wanted to put out there that hopefully you all enjoyed visiting the Providence Northern, those of you that were able to, and well, hopefully we get to keep the layout. Hopefully we don't have any big problems. Now, at the very least, we still have our modular, which we brought to the Big E. I didn't take very many pictures because my phone was almost full, but needless to say, it was a huge event, even though on Saturday there was what has been termed snowpocalypse. They accepted Saturday tickets on Sunday, so Sunday was a very busy day, and a good number more of the vendors and exhibitors were able to show up. On Saturday there was a blizzard that dumped upwards of 2 feet of snow on parts of southeastern New England. Springfield didn't get the worst of it. We got some pretty bad weather down here. Meanwhile, I made it to the show anyway, and I did my normal rounds at the booths, and I'll give you some of the important updates. Number one, and the most exciting and the best update, is that 7470 is expected to be back, like, within a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, hell
So, yeah, so that's good news. You know, I was like, what are we thinking on timeline? And I was afraid of what the answer would be, and they said, well, we'd like to put her on a train on Valentine's Day, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But definitely within, March or April. So,
if you don't mind me cutting in here, have you seen the photos of the actual cab interior?
I did see some photos when they were brought up last week, and I actually ran into the guy who's doing the woodwork for the cab interior.
Okay.
So-
Bare minimum, they know what they're doing. I think that engine will come back. Again, sooner than we expected, as you've noted. It's good work, good people.
Yeah, Conway Scenic is a really great operation.
Mm-hmm.
I visited the Mount Washington booth. They didn't have too much to say. The fellow who was there wasn't very talkative, which is unfortunate. But they also had somebody dressed up as Sylvester Marsh and a giant papier-mâché mountain with a Lionel track going up it. So that was fun to see. It was a different papier-mâché mountain than in 2019, so I guess they just keep building new ones. They're always improving. The 3713 project, they had some pictures of recent developments, but they're waiting on... they need to finalize their new 5-year agreement with Steamtown, which has been held up by COVID, among other things, namely the new superintendent has come in, and they have yet to have the opportunity to have a sit-down talk with her about the agreement. So, no imminent progress on that, but they're optimistic as always. And there's not really much other big news that I can talk about, except Monson number 3 was there, in the building, not outside. Of course, not steamed up. That doesn't mean she wasn't getting everyone sooty nevertheless. And I learned that number 3 will be going to Edaville for Edaville's 75th anniversary, running double headers with 11, going on what's left of the old main line, and doing photo op specials, etc. So, that is the news from the Big E. I went there looking for a few things, and I found none of what I was looking for, although I did break my streak of not buying anything.
Ooh.
I bought, for Gloria, a $8 Heinz iced reefer. So it's another pickle car. So now she has 2 of them.
You must really like pickles.
She does really like pickles.
To be fair, they are really good. Yeah.
They are really good. I mean, I can't say anything bad about pickles.
I can, but I'll let you guys have your glory.
No, you can't.
There are days where I will go out of my way to just eat a whole jar of pickles.
Jesus Christ. Are you pregnant?
Listen, it's extremely rare.
Dean goes
but
hard
I
on
will.
jars of pickles. He just goes all in.
Listen, they're good, okay? You can't blame me for liking pickles.
I mean, come on.
good.
Pickles are cucumbers that have been attacked.
That have been attacked. No. They're gherkins. They're gherkins. They're not cucumbers.
Anyway.
Oh, right.
I want to clean her up and then take a picture and put her in the Discord.
Alright, I'll show off to the podcast once you do that.
Okay.
Yeah. 57 varieties iced reefer. It's different than the pickle car she has before this, which is like the 4 circular vats on a flat car.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a really neat looking car. But I digress. That's the one thing that we ended up taking home from the show, aside from copious amounts of brochures. Oh, I do have an update on something, actually. Like a genuine update on something that we touched on last time, which is I talked to the folks at the Red Museum of New England about 2716. And the answer that they gave me is, yeah, we don't know. Apparently, everything that's been in the press is everything that anyone knows. Kentucky Steam has said, we would like to go there. New England Museum has said, yeah, sure. And that's it. Like, there's been no actual negotiating yet. Obviously, it's a few years out. They haven't decided how she's going to get there, what she's going to do when she gets there. Nothing like that. It's just,
They
hey,
just
we
want
want
to do it.
Yeah, we want to take 2017 to the Red Museum of New England, and the Red Museum of New England saying, hey, it'd be really cool if you came down. Yeah, sure. And that's it. So,
Okay.
Interesting.
yeah. Also, that trolley museum, the Shelburne Falls Trolley Museum, I found
Oh.
and they're running again. They have a really cute little old trolley car, which looks like you took the first Combine you can unlock for Railroads Online, the one that we don't have yet. If you took that and just put a trolley pole on it, that's their car. It runs.
What's this? Wait, what's this? What are
Oh,
they
is it
called?
like the one they have at Strasbourg, but with electricity, sort of?
Yeah, it's just a lot shorter, like a lot
Yeah.
smaller. This is the Shelburne Falls Trolley Museum. This was Jader. You managed to miss this because you weren't on Gemini and you didn't come on the New York day, but it's a little tiny trolley museum just sort of in the middle of nowhere, Massachusetts.
Is it the yellow thing? Oh,
Oh,
my
yeah,
god,
that
it's
one.
adorable.
Yeah, it's the yellow thing. It's really cute. It's really weird.
Okay, that thing is awesome. I like.
If somebody wants to throw a picture in, I can show the audience.
That's
but-
so cute.
Wait, oh shoot.
Number 10,
What's-
right?
Yes, it's the
Oh,
only thing they
okay.
have that
Awesome.
runs. Here's the fun
That
thing
is a
about it.
mistake enough.
Here's the fun thing about it. It was built in Springfield. It was shipped to the Valley, where Shelburne Falls is, which is the SF, and then it has never left, not in its entire life.
Huh.
So, yeah, it's so cute.
Okay, I've got a good photo. Oh,
the fun-
I've been beaten.
Bitsy teeny weeny.
One of
Oh,
the
we
fun
saw that
parts-
shed. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
shed. It was closed.
One of the fun parts about the Big E is talking with all the relatively young guys who are at these booths and going, "Oh, thank God, the generational gap is closing a little bit. There's more folks our age that are doing it, which makes me happy."
Yeah,
That's good.
I can
It's
actually
taken-
kind of. Sorry.
It takes a lot of work from a lot of people to get that, but
Mhm.
I will say it's been really. Again, I work in a hobby shop. I've been seeing more and more younger folks that have been coming in and getting into it, which is really good to see.
Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, you were saying, Jader?
Yeah, I can kind of elaborate on the whole generation gap, and it's closing, and it's good that younger people are getting into it. This was about a week and a half ago at this point, but one of the older members of my club passed away,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like the go-to brass guy, go-to really just mentor for like DCC installs and that kind of stuff. But it's all good. We're passing on the torch. I got the Pacific up and running. It's DCC now. I got to keep live in it. I'm just waiting on detail parts, and then I got another couple brass engines waiting to get DCC'd. And I'm gonna name at least one engine after him at some point. I don't know which one. I don't know if it's going to be something I already have or if I'm going to try to get something from his collection. I don't know yet, but something. Rest in peace, Dennis.
Either you need to take up the torch, become the brass man.
Become the brass.
As the local resident brass man, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Actually, do it.
Actually, there was something I
I mean, I
wanted
haven't
to say
exploded a
because
brass engine yet, so maybe.
one of the things that I wanted to mention about the PN was like, man, I don't know how many of the old guys that are members of the PN would have it in them to rebuild a new layout.
And
Yeah.
But it's good because there are a handful of middle-aged and younger guys that have shown up recently, so that's very thankful, very thankful for that. But Jader, you can carry on now. You still do. You said you were actually missing your railroading adventures.
Yeah, I haven't been up to the Hocking Valley since early November. I didn't get up for any of the Santa trains, just didn't have time, and then COVID started getting bad again, so I'm like, probably not a good idea. But I digress. And I was wanting to go up last Saturday. We were running Steam specials, either just to chase or as brakeman, but that
Nice.
didn't pan out.
No.
That didn't pan out. I was scheduled for work, and that comes first. Whereas just a nice side benefit of going to school down here.
Gotcha.
But I'm going to try to get up there eventually. Nothing's happened with the Caboose project. It's the last I was up there. I drove by to see if anything changed. It's still sitting by the depot. I don't think maybe somebody's messed with it, but probably not. I don't think anybody's touched it since.
Well,
I don't know.
at least it's not going backwards, even if it's not going forwards.
Yeah, that's true. And if anything, it's really only one side that needs redone. The other side, because it doesn't get any sun, it's fine.
Gotcha. I actually wanted to say, I wanted to jump into this because we can cover it really quickly. TJ, we need to get back up to the WNF. They didn't make it to the Big E, partially because of the weather and partially because of COVID. Well, no,
Yeah.
they backed out previous, but they did still have a representative there at the main Narrow
Yeah.
Edge booth.
Yeah, they are kind of tricky to get to. Driving, it's just a long drive, and it's really tiring. I know you and I have both driven up multiple times.
Yeah,
But luckily
and driving
for us,
back with a container of tots, going like, I gotta stay.
oh
awake.
yeah, oh yeah.
But go ahead.
That eating those tots and getting to the WWNF might get easier in the future, because there is a new company. Well, the company's not new, but their endeavor is the Finger Lakes Railway. That's what it is, in Geneva, New York, is planning to provide passenger service that interchanges with the Downeaster at Brunswick and runs to Rockland, with a stop in Wiscasset.
Yay, and Bath as well, which is cool. I just wanted to say we had this passenger service, and then it fell out of favor, and it was run by the Maine Eastern, and then that railroad changed hands. It's changed hands like at least twice since then, right?
Something like that, yeah. Too many
And
times.
we just haven't had any passenger service on it since then. It's interesting that they are wanting to do like DMUs, which is smart for the scale of economy on it. And also, while Amtrak could do this extension, I could understand if they wouldn't want to, because there are like 3 other things they want to do with the Downeaster extension aside from going to Rockland. So yeah, you can check all this out. The Rail Authority was sort of listening to and weighing in on them, and I appreciate that this isn't somebody out of nowhere. This is a railroad with existing financial backing.
Yeah, they're
that
not
wants
a
to try this.
they're not a Boston Surface.
Yeah,
I will also clarify, it isn't very interesting to see a private company getting into the passenger industry. We've seen this more recently, the last 5 years kind of thing, with stuff like Express West, also known as Brightline. Brightline. Rail Runner has been expanding. All these kind of regional railroads have been, private companies have been starting to get into it, and it's promising.
hey,
Very promising.
we have a saying around here. People like trains.
I agree.
Same good or bad. Wait, that's not our saying.
Yeah, I mean, we still have that saying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hey,
so
maybe
that's
this will be. I can almost see this, like, because it's such a small company doing this. Like short line. I can see this, like, inspiring other short lines to do the same.
oh man,
Mhm.
I would kill. Give me some Housatonic passenger service, please.
And it's interesting. I'm curious if they've done this previously, or have access to the figures of whoever has done it previously. Obviously, this is something that has been profitable in the past. So,
At least in the summer.
yeah, and that actually is really interesting in that that this is an existing service coming back instead of a brand new service in that regard.
Yeah. Well, and if they're gonna do it with DMUs, let's see if we can finally get the LS swapped bud car to be a reality.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, they could even have those London tube train things.
Yeah. Listen, on a long enough timeline, everything gets an LS. Anyway, do you want to go ahead with your stuff, and then we can finish out on Bacon
Sure.
Line stuff from Jader?
Um,
Dean, why is your font gigantic?
My font?
Type something.
Hold on, let me find it. I think.
Hold up. Why is there just a blank page?
What the
What
hell?
the hell happened to you?
hey, don't blame him.
number
It's the
12?
Big E.
It's the
The big E.
I'm sorry, you just lined that one up. I had to.
I didn't even realize.
Anyway,
A reason to that.
so getting to my stuff. Michigan's been interesting.
Go on.
Firstly, we got a charger. Or we've had chargers, but it's Michigan, and it's winter, and the intake vents for those are mounted on the bottom of the locomotive. So
Ooh.
charger go boom. So they replaced it with
Kaboom.
Dash 8. Dash 8 Kaboom! 518 blew up its HEP up here. So that was
Nice.
an interesting 370, and returned 371 the next day. Beer Marquette. My club, the Grand River Valley, has been building a new layout. Operations base, dual deck. It's 25 by about 50, and that's been a lot of fun. I should drop some photos in, but we've been hand building switches, and some of the track, for my sanity or lack thereof, is hand laid.
Awesome.
It's a ball. I love hand laying track. I'm crazy.
Kind of want to try it.
It's fun, seriously. But we've been doing all the fast track switches, and in the hand leg section, I've been building switches from nothing,
Oh my
which
god.
is fun. It's fun.
Quote,
But
unquote.
yeah,
Is it one of those like kits?
no. Well, we have the fast tracks jigs, but basically what I've been doing is notching out 2 sections of rail, soldering them together, soldering guides onto them, and then using a metal saw to cut grooves in that for a frog. Guardrails, just solder them in, cut grooves. That's for the completely custom stuff, and then for the rest of the switches, we've been using the fast tracks jigs. So it's all code 100 rail. It's a ball to do.
Man, you can get really funny with hand laid switches.
Oh yeah,
Because you can do whatever you want. That was the gigantic double crossover, double slip mess in front of Troy Station on the NBNW was all hand laid, and it's just like tiny little frog segments individually spiked down. And I remember they would come loose, and I would get out there with the littlest hammer in the world and tamp them back down.
The fun thing is I have these spiking pliers, which are basically a normal set of pliers with a slot cut at them that the spike actually goes in. Those things are godsend for hand laying. But we've also been, the stuff that's hand laid, we've been laying with tie plates, so little bits of styrene, and that actually really helps to hold the spike. It's something, if you drive both spikes at an angle, the styrene is actually enough resistance that it will help hold the spike. So we haven't had any rail move other than expansion issues.
That's actually really clever.
It works well too, and it looks cool. Anyway, and the other thing that's happened recently, no good transition for this, is a local politician tried to steal my homework.
Yeah, go on.
There is a locomotive up in East Jordan, Michigan. So it's middle of nowhere, kind of probably 30, 40-ish minutes down from Traverse City. The locomotive was the last locomotive to operate revenue freight in the state of Michigan.
Steam locomotive, you mean?
Common carrier, yes. It's built by Alco, 1909. We've had it on the Terminus before when we did it. I think faced a Santa Fe 260. Or no,
Gotcha.
it was another 260. Anyway, but we've been doing cosmetic upkeep on the engine and trying to keep it nice. And recently as well, we just got a ton of photos, like probably about 100 photos of this engine in service. Which
They're all going to be in the cargoes. They're really, really cool.
It's been a just godsend to see. I now know the builder's plates are wrong. Next time I'm up there, I have to repaint all the white gold. But this thing was rebuilt. It was one of the last steam engines rebuilt in Grand Rapids in the Wyoming shops, too. So this thing is a bundle of history all wrapped up, and people in East Jordan love this thing. We've got a lot of people come up, comment, "Oh, are you going to make it run?" I wish we could. The engine's in great
adorable.
shape. Minus the broken second axle, but that is a FIA class legal repair.
Axel, take that one out. Just have a big zero.
They managed to crack the axle off, or the wheel off the axle, so it's actually got a heat band stuck around it, and they've milled out the back of the driver. It's legal.
God.
We've checked.
So it's like,
but it's impressive.
So it's like that a one video of that locomotive wheel slipping and
You just watched
the
the wheel wobble a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Yes,
It's
that's
basically
exactly what
that.
happened. Yes,
Jesus Christ!
it broke the wheel off the axle. Anyway,
That's frightening.
that engine was rebuilt in 1954 and last ran on the East Jordan Southern 1961 for July 4th. From that, the engine sat. It's had all of its asbestos lagging removed. The engine's been taken great care of. It is complete. We have the original whistle. We have the original builder's plates in safe storage. It's got all of the fixings. Anyway, local politician. The engine was moved a couple years ago across from the town of East Jordan across their harbor, and there's this. We have been doing a ton of work to try to keep this engine up nice and try to keep it, preserved. And this politician posted a photo of him next to the engine, basically saying, I did all of this and this to help get the engine moved and all this and this. I've never heard your name before, but we're just going to politely comment, hey, please don't climb on the engine. Liability for the city. We spent a lot of time on the engine. Please just be mindful, be careful. And a buddy of mine, who is also on that project, basically commented, yeah, we'd like to get a fence around the engine in the next couple of years and, get the thing really spiffed up nice for the city. Okay? This politician comes back, well, the people of East Jordan, that engine doesn't need a fence, and went on for a while about it.
Oh my god.
And how he did this and that, and he knew steam restoration because he deals with some steam engine somewhere else in Michigan. Okay, I've never heard of this other engine, really. I've seen it. It's not to the same level of 6 in terms of detail. Long story short, I basically commented, hey, I've never seen you at the work sessions for the number 6. I've been doing this and that, and, kind of commented, oh, and by the way, the stuff you say that isn't missing, this is 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 gone, this is rotted out, this is... And suffice to say, his post was removed. So,
Good.
politician tried to steal my homework, everyone.
Didn't he also steal your parking space?
No, that was a different politician. Either way, I'm not voting for either one of them.
Hot take. Politics and tourist trains / trains on display do not mix.
No, they don't.
You'd think if he wanted to be the good guy, he would have been like, okay, we'll fund your fence.
Yeah.
Oh,
or hey, you get the number of thing. Anyway, last point of contention, transitioning from that, to avoid all political stuff, I have my own live steam engine now. I've had one previously. I owned a Cliché locomotive. That has been sold to a museum out in Oklahoma, so Frisco 4500 fans, they're getting live steam. My former engine. But to replace it, got a boiler test today and failed it for a good reason that we're working on. Photos are posted, but I am in the process of buying a Little Engines American. The engine needs some work, obviously. It failed a boiler test today. But basically the stuff that failed is a couple of bolts that went bad. The boiler does not look great. I want to clarify that now. It was home built, but before putting any pressure to the engine, we're doing a lot of kind of look into its history. Now we know where it ran in Wisconsin. We have its Wisconsin boiler tag. Basically going through the engine, it's a copper boiler, and the engine, excuse me, the running gear is complete, the engine complete, we know it ran, and we're slowly stitching it back together. So the engine I'm really happy with the way it looks, and it's a cute little engine. It should be a hell of a lot of fun when I get it back together.
I can't imagine.
I'm showing the picture of the boilers now. It is very cute.
Yes, the engine's rough, I will freely admit, but it's going back together. It's long story short, there's a show called I Love Toy Trains, and there was this kid in, I forget which episode, I think it was episode 10. And I vowed, one of these days, I'm going to be that kid. That kid was running a 15-inch gauge Shay.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, turns out I know where that Shay is. And it's in Michigan. Not far from me, actually.
So you gotta go run the thing.
I gotta poke those people and go see that engine. But long story short, because I was jealous, that kid got me into live steam, and that's dangerous.
I wonder where that kid is now.
Still there. That railroad, I know where it's privately owned, but I know where it is. It's not far from a couple of very well-known railroads. Shall we
That's
say near the
fantastic.
Indiana border? Anywho, that's it for me.
So, Jader, you made a note about Railroads Online. I'd like to be the first to publicly say that we have welcomed Jader as the 4th member of the Bacon Line. Unfortunately for him, the debut episode was the one in which I lost my mind. You could.
I mean, we all kind of lost our minds, to be fair.
That was fun to
Tyler was
watch.
just kind of doing his own thing.
Tyler had lost. It was already gone. He was running on automatic mode,
Yes.
just building the thing he always built. Apparently,
Does this mean helper service where you push through the caboose?
yeah.
We actually did that.
You can do it. In some cases.
Just don't
But-
put 2 moguls on the rear end of a train.
Oh no. Yeah, I heard. We have
the
not
answer is
tried
to put
double heading
one
service, but
That was triple-headed.
well, we don't have 3 engines yet, so that's a little above board. Out of reach
Okay.
for us thus far. But yeah,
Okay.
so what do you think of our privatized disaster or our private disaster, Jader?
I'm enjoying it so far.
Oh, good.
That's more.
Like, I'm looking forward to when we start building towards the coal mine, because on my save, I haven't done any of the track like at the mine itself, other than just the one that comes into the unloading docks. But on my save, I finished building out there today, laying all the track, and oh my god, it's a long run.
Oh, which way did you? Which way did you go from?
Went from like the top of the waterfall, followed the river basically the whole way to the southeast corner of the map, and then went up to the mine.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. A couple times I regretted that, and I'm like, I should have just got TJ on here to build me some switchbacks.
Yeah, I built to the coal mine I went from the iron mine over there's like a little ridge. So I just went up and over the ridge using switchbacks, and I just run a Heisler.
Yeah. No, I heard about. I have not laid eyes upon, but I heard about your route, and it's pretty baller. So
It works.
yeah, it works. So
Even on the new physics, it works. I'm very happy about it.
hopefully we'll be able to. I finished my madness. Now, you guys can watch the episode of the Bacon Line that was posted back on Tuesday, and you can yeast your eyes upon my descent into madness. But I did throw an addendum at the beginning of that video, which is I went back and I fixed my track and did finally connect up the iron mine my way at a 4% grade. So it's not going to be great, but it's going to be good enough to go downhill on. Just maybe not uphill, not with what we have. Anyway,
Uphill
So-
slow, downhill fast.
tonnage first and safety last. Alright, are we ready for the next segment?
Are we? We have candidates, but who's doing what?
I know Jader wants to do the DM and IR, is that right?
That is correct.
I really want to do the AC9s.
Alright, the
Oh,
AC9s.
there we go.
So it's time for...
Uh,
Anyone?
Lord versus.
There you go. So, pictures if you can, please. But we
Here
have...
is the Demon Eye origin.
We have
I
the
think I
reigning
do.
champion of Local Royale, the winner of the Royale of Royales of Royales, the Southern Pacific AC9 versus the Duluth Massab and Iron Range Yellowstone. Why did I just almost call it Cab Forward?
AC9s.
Yeah, AC9s. Weren't they? They weren't even cab forwards, were they? That was the
Nope,
AC9.
just normal
They were the
malaise.
regular versions. They were the only ones that were normal.
The cab backwards. Wait.
There's a good picture of this thing. Here we go.
Yeah, there are not a huge
There you go.
number of AC9 pictures out there.
There you
But-
go.
Oh,
Here's one of them, the Southern Pacific AC-9, and
it's
That's a small picture, Jader.
Yeah.
that's okay. Yeah, all
Where's
right, I'm
the
going to use
picture
the
for
one
ants?
that'll work.
and the DM&I are Yellowstones. So, based on the history of DM and IR engines on this show, I think I'm going to say we should probably give the Yellowstone first bid.
I found another Yellowstone picture.
Oh no! Oh wait,
It's
this
the one
is
that
that one.
Kaboom!
Blame the Rio Grande.
Man, we've had a lot of
Right.
kaboom lately on this show. This
Oh,
show has
you'll
been
get more.
this is
Wait,
gonna be
wait,
There's more.
wait. Was that the one where it blew the a fireman like off a cliff, or was that something else?
I think you're gonna have to be more specific than that.
Like the boiler essentially blew up. It blew the engineer out of the cap wall and into
No,
a,
that's.
a,
I
a
don't think that
rock
was.
face.
I don't think
I
that
don't
was
think
this
that's
one.
the
I
one.
think this one was a rollover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If I remember right. I mean, if Weibold was here, he'd be able to tell us because he always
he
gushes
does.
about these things. They've showed up
Yeah.
in Locomotive Versus a few times, and actually they have done pretty well. But Dean and TJ, what do you guys think? Who should go first?
AC9.
AC9. All right, TJ, you're the tie break.
Yeah, I'll do AC9 as well.
Okay, AC9 can go
Alrighty.
first then. Mr. L, you're up.
I'm gonna go with fuel availability.
Fuel availability?
You can't do that. That's not a stat.
What do you mean availability?
Oh,
The
do we
stat
have-
is that the AC9s can do both coal and oil.
Oh,
They
okay,
run both
that's
ways.
also
Not
that's also a style point, not a stat. It's got to be
Okay,
something in
okay.
the steam locomotive stat sheet.
Are they both oil burners?
No.
Oh.
The AC9s were the only ones that were converted using C&O tenders later in their life.
Based.
I am going to go with, I think, superheater surface.
Superheating service. That is a great start.
Okay.
Jader.
2270 square feet.
2831.
Okay,
Okay.
and the first blow, the AC9 scores the first point. Keep going.
Alrighty. I'm going to go, I think, with firebox area.
Firebox
Okay,
area.
Firebox area. 750 square feet.
Holy shit.
Oh,
589.
holy
Yes.
mo! That is a difference. Okay,
That is a difference I didn't expect.
Oh, I mean, would you look at that picture of the Yellowstone? That's a lot of firebox.
Man.
Yeah, it is in
That's a-
fact a lot of firebox.
That's a firebox. You could house 4 college students in that firebox. Anyway, to the DM and I are Yellowstone. Jader, what's your first stat call?
It's an attractive effort.
Tractive effort.
Okay, good choice for an ore hauler. 123, 364.
Those are rookie numbers, my friend.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
140,093 pounds.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
He's beating him over the head with it.
This is the pendulum has suddenly swung away in a way I did not expect. Jader, carry on.
Let's do factor of adhesion.
I don't like where this is going.
Uh-oh.
4.31.
4.
4
Oh,
perfect.
Jesus.
Perfect 4?
Yes.
Oh my god. Alright, there you go. That's 3 points for you. Carry on.
I'm scared to do that one.
Scared.
Cylinder. How big are the cylinders?
High pressure or
let's
low
see.
pressure?
High pressure.
High pressure.
High pressure. Just the diameter.
Diameter, and stroke.
and stroke.
I have a 24 by 32.
26 by 32.
Wow. Okay. Jader?
Boiler pressure.
Boiler pressure.
250.
Shit!
Yes.
I made a mistake. 240.
Okay.
Uh,
big wagon hours. Anyway,
Gross.
all right. So there, it's 2-4.
A whole
The
10
AC9 has the ball
pounds.
again. Hey, you know what?
Okay.
If this does go in favor of the Yellowstone, I'm gonna be happy that something got to beat up on the local Royale winner anyway.
I like the AC9, so no. I'm gonna go with axle loading. Pounds per axle.
Do you have that, Jeter?
Let me see. Axle loading. I don't have that.
Oh. All right, try again.
Okay. I'm gonna go. If I were to go engine weight, are we counting a lighter engine as a win?
Lighter engine is a win.
Okay, I'm gonna go with engine weight then.
Engine weight.
689,900 pounds.
Oh crap.
Oh.
695,040.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's close.
AC9 is a lighter engine though.
It's closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Let's go with minimum weight of rail, pound per yard.
Uh-oh.
I'm at Okay.
117.
Yes, 111.
Okay. Yeah. The show seems to flow better in experience when we let the other person give their answer first.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not a hard and fast rule, but it does seem to yield some good results.
Works for me. I just heat of the moment.
Understandable. Carry on.
Okay, let's see if I can keep this streak going. I can't use tender stuff because I have 2 different tenders to go with.
You could just go with what's listed.
Yeah, out of when possible, we just stick with what's on the stat sheet, unless there's something that.
Well, I have the stats for both coal and oil, so I can't go water capacity because that changed based on what tender you used.
Are you certain, or are you just looking at the fact that it's metric and?
I'm certain. Tender fuel capacity, oil, coal, gallons, tons.
Yeah,
So-
no, that's normal. It's showing your coal capacity in.
But I know for the
tons and metric
SP, what are the 2 tenders they use, the CNO tenders versus the SP tenders, the water capacity changed too because they changed from square body CNO to a GS tender. So I'm not using that. Sorry,
Okay.
I've looked at these things too much.
Well, in a pinch, the stat sheet it may look like it has more than one, but it only has stats for one of them.
Let's go with number of flues.
Okay.
Flues, number and diameter. This is an interesting stat. I'll explain what it means once you give your answers. Jader?
Okay. 245 flues at 3 3/4 inches.
260 at 3.5.
3.5 versus 3 3/4.
I think
Okay.
Rail wins that one.
Yeah, Rail does win that one by a 1/4 of an inch. So, the way we do tubes and flues, because if we did it a more sensible way, it would probably just be a repeat of the evaporative heating surface numbers and superheating surface numbers. If you have smaller flues or smaller tubes, you automatically win no matter the number. If there's a tie, then it defers to the number. But because the AC9 has smaller flues, the AC9 gets the win here. So there's a point for the AC9. It is now 5-4. Carry on.
Okay. Let's do it the combined heating surface.
All right. Combined heating surface. 95.52.
Wow.
97.49.
Wow. 6-4. We're halfway to style points.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I'm going to win this one, but it has to be done at some point. Let's get the Robert Limp Messina bar computation. Alrighty.
Jader?
Got the dog.
30,000 even.
34,875.
I'm dead.
Wow.
Oh no, Jader, you're gonna die.
Diagnosed me with dead.
I died.
Okay. Let's keep the theme rolling, Power L1.
22,722.
27,905.
Okay.
Power MT.
715.29.
That's a difference. 926.50.
Wow.
Oof.
Power
Okay.
MT is more or less a power to weight computation. That's an interesting one.
Yeah,
So-
but with the weights as close as they are, I didn't expect that.
No. Anyway, it is now
Um,
9-4.
What the hell? Let's go tubes.
Two.
Number
Tubes.
diameter.
Okay.
86. Well, okay. Nope. I'm doing it again. Jader, go.
Oh, all right. 82 at 2¼ inches.
Okay. 86 at 2¼ inches.
Oh. Okay. So now it's 10-4.
Bruh.
I didn't expect this.
The AC9 has developed a commanding lead.
Have we done great area?
No.
Let's do that.
No, no. 125 square feet.
Oh,
Oh
139.5.
Wow.
Vader, stop dying.
I thought these were closer.
Why do I always pick garbage engines?
I mean, this happens every time the DM&IR comes up.
No, this is every time I do locomotive versus.
Shot.
I mean, that's also true, but
It's either these, some other garbage thing, or the DT&I.
yeah,
Okay.
that's the other thing. It's the DT&I when it comes up. But I heard this,
Garbage.
the suggestion was made, and you went like, "Oh yes," and I in my head went, "Oh no."
Oh, no. Oh, yes. Oh, no.
Yeah, I didn't remember the
no.
last time I got my butt kicked.
Is
Oh.
valve gear a style point, or is
Yes,
that?
it's a valve
okay.
gear is a stat. Sorry,
It's a
Valve
stat.
gear is
Okay.
A stat.
I'm gonna run it to give Jader a chance.
Okay,
Oh, boy.
Jader.
Okay, I have Baker.
I have
Whoa.
wall shirts.
Baker is to Baker goes the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jada wins.
Okay.
5-11.
Okay, when were you built?
39.
1941.
Okay.
Okay.
6-11.
Ah.
God damn it!
Okay.
Dang. You did it, not me.
I can't stand you people.
How many were built?
12.
18.
Okay. 7-11. I need to go get gas.
I'd go for a slushy.
Yeah,
I can go
you
for a
too.
slushy.
So pause the terminus for slushy break.
Slushy break. Let's go.
Yeah, it's too cold.
Oh,
And we don't have a
fucking take it.
7-Eleven here.
I could use a
And it's
slushy
like
though.
10
Damn.
o'clock on a
At
Sunday.
least
I could use a friggin' eclair.
Guys, it's double digits. It's 22 degrees.
It's like 18 here last I checked. And
Yes.
there's 4 feet of snow drifted up in my driveway. I carved out a space just big enough for the wagon and just parked it in it. It fits so tightly you open the passenger door into the carved out channel for the sidewalk. It's like that video. If you've ever seen the video of the guy whose car is 1 inch smaller than his garage. So he has the
Yes.
incredibly elaborate way to get his car into his garage and then get out and get into his house. That's what I felt like, except in the snow. Anyway, Jader, you have the bowl. Carry on.
I do, in fact, have the ball. Can't do that because you have different tenders. Who built you?
Lima.
Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Jesus.
Putting the win in Baldwin.
Yep.
Why have I never
Yes.
made that joke before? We've made 175 of these episodes, 176 of these episodes, and I've not made that joke before.
Well, I mean, you did now, so.
Yeah, well, got that out of the way. Well, I'll mark that off of my list of jokes and move on to the next one. Jader.
Ooh.
That wasn't implying Jader as a joke. But
Bruh.
if I had
No,
thought
but-
of it, it would have been funny.
No. It popped my negative. But, ooh.
Well, I can't win these.
The problem is there are a number of stats I am legitimately curious about.
Oh,
Because I
Hmm.
through this, I am not looking at the sheet for the Yellowstone.
well, yeah, you shouldn't
yeah,
be.
you can't.
Yeah, you
You're
can't.
cheating.
Please don't.
Cheating.
How about drive? Yeah, okay. Driver diameter.
Oh, is that one you were curious about?
It was actually.
Go ahead.
Driver diameter is 63.5.
Fucking serious.
Oh, we've had this
What,
happen
the
before.
same?
63.
Yeah, we've had this happen
Oh!
before. Way to be those guys, SP. Just
Way to be those
I
guys.
remember that from the Royale. I remember that being called. And yeah, 63.5. Why?
Is that a point for the AC9 though, or a point
Yep.
for the? Okay.
That
Yep.
is a point for the AC9.
Just
Larger
barely.
drivers is a point.
Okay.
12 to
No.
18. We have hit a total of 20 points. Rail, you have the ball. You are allowed to call stats as you please. The game proceeds as usual, but at any time, since you have the ball, you are allowed to say, no, I want to go to style points instead.
Okay.
And then we close these stat sheets after the judge's choice questions.
Okay. Let's see. Let me just look through everything again. I think I'm just going to rest on my laurels and go to style points.
Okay. Well, I have, let's see. Dean and TJ and I each get to ask a question. I need to think about what mine's going to be first. Dean, TJ, do you guys have anything?
Local base ID.
Okay, local base ID.
Oh boy.
Let me
Jader.
find that.
It's at the very top of the page.
Okay, yep. Who first? Me?
I'll ask Jader, you can go first.
Okay, mine is 334.
336.
Okay, that's a
Yes.
point for the Yellowstone.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Alice, tomorrow it's a weight competition.
Oh, for God's sake. Okay. I have a little calculator. If you click down here where it says Local Royale, you'll go to the Local Royale spreadsheet. There's an Ellis Tomatoes weight computation thing you guys can fill out. It's weight on drivers divided by engine weight. It's a very simple power to weight computation. It's a very simple computation of how much of your weight is being used is adhesive weight. So,
Wait on drivers.
just trying to fill in the same row.
62.
Somebody broke my formatting.
Engine weight.
So,
Oops, wrong sheet. Engine weight.
this is an
Clicky.
interesting one. Okay,
Okay.
there's 0.77 for the Southern Pacific, and 0.81 for the Yellowstone. That is really good. Okay, so there's
What do you
another
wanna
one for
be-
the Yellowstone.
What do you want to be closer to? 1?
You want to be closer to 1. It means more of your weight is adhesive weight.
Mhm.
So you're not wasting anything. Which is why engines with no leading or trailing reels are OP at that particular stat.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Doesn't surprise me though, because the AC9s are better at top end.
Now, you tried to ask about...
Tenders.
no, you...
The fuel availability.
I am curious about tenders, but I'm more curious because you tried to ask axle loading, which Jader didn't have. But what you do both have is minimum weight of rail.
We did ask that. I won.
Oh, you did.
I was
sorry.
at 111 pound.
That's true. I'm sorry. I forgot about that.
You're good.
That
It is
did
interesting though.
happen. That's true. Let's see. What is in here that's interesting that's left? That's a burning question. Oh, you know what? Let's do this one. Evaporative heating surface divided by cylinder volume. Actually, I think that's
That's
a
fair.
handy win for you, Rail.
Okay, Jader.
Wait. So, 172.44.
Wow.
That's not good.
206.45.
Yeah. You generally, it's nice to be over 200. That's not a mark like with any backing, but it's nice to be over 200. So that's a point for the AC9. Okay, so style points. What have you guys got to go? There's no explicit organization for this section, but
If I can take the first two,
go ahead.
Okay.
I have availability of fuel sources because
Yep.
the AC9s did both coal and oil.
You did have 2 fuel sources. That is a
And I-
multi-fuel is a point.
Okay.
I got that slick pilot and Skyline casing.
Yes, you do.
But I have safety stripes.
You know what?
Safety stripes indeed.
You know what? You are safe, and you know what? I
And
will go on.
and we're green. Boilers are green.
We're green.
They were
Well,
green.
some of
That's
them.
true.
All-weather cab doesn't really count.
I have
mean-
the better nickname.
The all-weather cab definitely counts. The AC9s didn't have one.
Oh, they didn't?
Actually, I think
Wait, did they? I
they
can't tell
did.
it on this picture.
They did. The
Okay.
I have one of the O-gauge ones. They do.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I just saw the side picture. So yes,
Mhm.
yes, they absolutely do. I couldn't tell from that one.
I do have the better nickname. These things were Gila monsters.
Gila
Gila
monsters.
That's actually pretty
I've
cool.
never
awesome.
heard that.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I'll give that. I'm handing them out like hotcakes over here.
That's fair.
And I have pinstripes.
Okay.
You do have pinstripes. I'm gonna go with the.
Yeah, but I'm green.
I gave you the green point. I didn't
The two
give you the safety stripes point because your safety stripes are 2 inches long, and I believe that's balanced out by the
That's right.
stuff on the other. Yeah, the pinstripes on the other engine. What you?
Okay.
I'm not gonna start handing out points. You guys are doing great.
How many of yours are preserved?
Okay, that's fair.
I'm assuming that means none.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Hang on. Let me qualify this.
Half of one. A tender.
Are we talking spun or unspun? Because the
What?
12s are very similar to the 9s. It's not the
Okay.
same plaid,
No,
but
that
it's
doesn't
the
count.
same
No, that doesn't
frame.
count.
Okay.
Good try,
but I didn't know
I
that.
had to go there. I had to go there.
Close
spun
one or
or
cigar.
unspun. I'd like my AC-12 shaken, not stirred.
That's the final.
So why don't we take it 4294 and put it on the turntable?
Yeah, but you leave the tender behind.
No, you don't. You just spin it.
Yeah.
You put the cab on the right end.
The cab's something.
Yeah, all right.
For some reason, Jader has big real hubs for the pilot. Like they sort of like they look to jut out like a lot.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
weird.
those really menacing things you see on semi-trucks with like the spikes
Yeah,
that come out of
those.
Yeah,
Okay, I have one more for the AC9.
go ahead.
I have the most unique air pump sound of any class.
Yeah, pew pew pew.
Yeah, pew pew. The HD9s and cab forward share the same air pump arrangement, which means you get that distinctive noise that only those engines put out.
Okay.
So wait, so why do they do that actually?
It's
Is it
I've
just
looked
how
at
they-
it. I think it's how they're piped. Being on the front of the boiler or how the boiler is set up, I think it's because they pipe them up, back, and then into the stack.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So it's a longer. I don't know exactly.
Oh, I
but
see.
it's
I see the
weird.
pipes. Wow, those are kind of
Yeah.
funny looking. I just want to say I'm pretty sure that it's because they captured a small man and he's stuffed inside the pilot and he's going pew 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 pew.
And he's deafening
He's
hobos.
trying to get
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
Hmm.
That's
Cool.
That's why they hired him to deafen the hobos.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Let's see. When were you retired?
Oh, I don't remember.
It might say something in the.
56.
I think these were. There's not like an exact date in here.
I'm going to qualify that though, because some of them were retired early because they weren't swapped over to oil.
Mhm.
Okay.
Or I forget which way it was, but there were some that were retired in 53.
Gotcha. Well, 56. The last one running is the last one running. No,
Yes.
that does not mean 844 has never retired. That does not mean the FEFs have never been retired. But just cutting that one off at the pass for any commenters.
You know what? Jader has a centipede tender.
Jader does have a centipede tender.
I do, in fact, have a centipede tender
That is,
with an
I
awesome
think
logo
we've
on it.
given that before as a point.
Oh, speaking of the tender, I have 2 bells. There's one on the tender.
Also, you never finished the statement, Jader. You guys ran until 1963.
Wow, that's
Hell yeah.
late.
Yeah, so
granted,
you get
I
the point
think-
for that, and you get the
I
point for
don't-
the centipede.
Now, granted, I don't think that's like in revenue services until
It
then,
was.
But I don't. Oh, it was.
I believe so. I'm willing to give you that one.
Yeah, they'd lasted for. I mean, worst case scenario, that the dates that are listed here are between 58 and 63. So
That
Let's
sounds-
also just note, knowing the ore roads, they are the last people on Earth who will go out and buy new equipment. And it's what they do. They're good at it. I'm just going to believe 63 on principle.
Yeah. Well,
It makes
if
sense.
It wasn't revenue service. It was probably like ore thawing.
I have an air horn.
You do have an air horn, Mr. Southern Pacific. You're chum.
You're chum.
Actually, I wanted to ask, are these the engines that were leased to the Rio Grande and they said they were like the finest engines ever or whatever? Because
I
Wybot
don't-
always,
That
Wybot
is a
always
good
likes to point that
question.
one out.
I
Yeah.
don't know of these things ever going to the Grand, but I also don't know.
No, the DMNR. Actually, you know what? I just found it in the Steam Locomotive page. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Quote, the DNRTW sent a telegram to the DMNIR stating the Yellowstones were the finest steam locomotives to ever operate on its road. And Wybot
So-
always likes to go, that's a style point. So, in
Yeah.
lieu of him not being here, that's a style point. So I'm sure he would be like, if he found out that these guys were in a versus again, he would come in and say something about it. But he's probably busy.
The Yellowstone had roller bearings on its on frames and cylinders, so
Hang on.
pretty good.
Did you not have?
I don't.
Let's see. What is the oil coating? I have circles, I think, which means I think I have roller bearings. Hold that thought while I get a better photo.
Is this an excursion service? What is this?
Yeah.
Are you
I think it's a-
serious?
I
They
think
did
it's a rail
fan
trip.
trips.
Yeah.
They
Oh
did
my
fan
God.
trips. Why does
Let's take a
everybody
look
paint
up.
over the blasted drivers?
Because he needs to do it. They're just
The-
evil.
The photo. Let's see. Does it say anything about roller? No, it
Roller
doesn't.
freight.
I believe I
So-
have roller bearings on my main driving
All right.
wheels.
Yeah, I'll call that a wash. I think.
I know I have rollers on the front trailing and tender trucks.
Gotcha.
I would think
Yeah.
this says roller bearings on. Okay, yeah, the first group roller bearings on all driving axles. The last group roller bearings on all axles.
Gotcha.
So okay,
Well,
roller
fair
bearings.
enough. Any other
Yay, Tipkin.
really burning style points? Otherwise, I'm just going to call it here. I'm going to tap
Uh,
it out.
Who has most sand capacity? Do you think?
Who most what capacity?
Sand capacity.
Sand.
I'm gonna go with me because of that big skyline casing.
Did they just fill it with sand?
Yeah.
The whole thing's full of sand. It's just a sandbox up there.
Well, I have two.
Sandbox.
Basically, you can pull the entire casing open in two hatches, so there's a lot of capacity in there. I believe it's long. You can see the pipes above both sand domes on the boiler, and I believe that extends out past the edges of the casing of that particular piece of casing.
That's a
So
lot of sand.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
is.
was a pretty stupid question.
Based on the rivet work, I'm not sure about that, but I think it's a wash because the DMNIR does have a lot of space, and you may have a lot of space.
Um,
I can. Go ahead.
the DM from what I've seen, the AC9s have a pretty similar arrangement to the Bergs.
Gotcha.
Jeter has his feed water heater, like on top of the smoke box. I don't know where
I do too.
rails is.
Yeah,
Is
there
I
it
do
is.
too.
It's hiding up there.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's in the
it's in the
casing.
casing. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything's it's under the sauce.
It's under the sauce.
You know what? I have a another point for the casing because it made working on the engine safer. You had a flat platform to walk on instead of the top of a boiler.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's fair, I suppose.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Okay.
So trying to straddle on top of a boiler, you just
That's why they got it. Actually,
oh
Oh,
it wasn't
It
a
wasn't-
style thing.
it wasn't for coolness points.
No, they looked sweet, but that wasn't it.
All
do I
right.
have
Well, I'm
two
gonna.
do I have two dynamos?
I have 3.
Oh, okay.
RG3.
I'm just gonna leave it.
I
I'm
don't
just gonna leave it
know.
the way it is. I already wrote it down. I wrote down it's 19-16,
Okay.
and the AC9 won by the points, 19-16. We need to cast our votes. I'm not sure who I'm gonna vote for. TJ, Dean, do you guys know?
Yellowstone.
Okay, one for the Yellowstone.
Yay.
Same.
Yeah,
All right. You know
yeah.
what? I'm gonna lean into this. We're gonna make it a 3-0 for the Yellowstone on the votes. But
Yay.
because they have that cool logo on the tender.
Did this
I'll
for
give
you,
you the
Dennis.
It is
logo.
really nice.
If you had brought the logo up when we were going for style points, I would have given you that one.
Yeah, no, I thought that was valid. I almost just gave it to him anyway. I originally lumped it in with the safety stripes because I thought the 2-inch long safety stripes was not strong enough of a point on its own.
Is that right now, though? If we have 3 votes, does that mean it's even?
No, it means that the points are different to the votes. Only the
Okay.
judges get a vote. So,
Okay.
the AC and I won by the points. The DM and I are won by the votes. So,
Okay.
it is what it is. Who really won? You can decide in the comments.
Did this for you, Dennis. He's a big
Yeah.
DMIR guy.
Yeah, all one person who
Fantastic.
watches this damn show.
Hey, sometimes there are two. One of them's my mom, but it's 2 commenters.
Slowly
Well,
turns
I'm
to look
thinking
at the
the same
half-built
thing, but
AC9
okay.
model.
Anyway, all right, we got some discussion topics that we need to get out of the way. Now, we have some big ones and some small ones. Where did we want to start? Actually, we'll start with the small, teeny, weeny, weeny. Dean, tell us about Sir Nigel Grassley.
Oh boy. Okay, so if I can get to pull up
Importantly,
Nigel
what is Sir Nigel Grassley?
Sir
those who don't know.
Sir Nigel Grassley was a man. No.
Okay, yes.
The locomotive is named after Sir Nigel Grassley. It's in London and Northeastern Railway A4. It is one of, I think, how many are preserved? I don't remember.
8, I think.
8? Like 7 or
6.
8?
Okay, 6.
6. So we're somewhere 6 to 8. But these A4s have been
Yes.
essentially an icon in a British steam since their inception. Sir Nigel Grassley has been sent to is going to carry on with tests at the Severn Valley Railway. There isn't a listed date, I don't think. No, there isn't. But these tests will happen. A spokesperson for the Locomotive Trust told Rail Advent, quote, "The steam pipes are in and the front is being reassembled. We will then carry out the hydraulic test. We can confirm that it is our plan to run in at the SVR, but details are still under discussion."
Would this be the only A4 that's running right now?
I don't believe so. They took out Union of South Africa a month or two ago, but I'm sure that there might be one more running.
Gotcha.
Let me
could be
take a look
wrong.
into that quick.
So,
Yeah, do that.
my other important question is it going to stay painted black? Because it looks really cool. It looks... I don't like the A4s, but it looks like the locomotive that Batman would own.
Okay. If you don't mind me running through the class here quick, 4464 is Bittern, and she is out of service right now. Mallard's out of service. Union of South Africa is out of service. 4489, Dominion of Canada is stateside. Dwight D. Eisenhower is stateside. Sir Nigel Grassley will be the only one operation.
Okay,
Wow.
so I stand corrected.
So,
Like,
that's neat. I don't really have any love lost for A4s, but... cool.
I'm
Stealth locomotive.
Yeah, I'm like a big LMS guy, so the A4 is just really don't tickle me.
I will give them credit as the speed demon here.
Yeah.
I do give the A4s credit for doing 126. People know them for it. The T1s went faster, but I'll leave that there.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can't be the standard man I know you are and just be like, yeah, they have the speed record because
Duck for dinner. Duck for dinner.
Duck for dinner. Yeah. When that finishes finally.
Soon
Whenever.
TM. Let me go check on
30
them.
years.
But meanwhile, I actually wanted to turn the ball over to TJ to talk about another engine that. Turn the ball over to Jader to talk about another engine that definitely could beat Mallard in a race. Jader?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay. I'm not sure 261 could beat Mallard in a race,
I'm
but
pretty sure it could.
it could. I haven't really thought about that. But
I
44 is similar enough and has, so.
and has.
And has. There are
Oh.
some interesting UP Steam stories.
Oh boy.
this isn't UP.
I know, but I'm saying it's a similar enough driver size, diameter, valve gear. 261 could do it if they pushed it.
This is the This is not UP. This is the Milwaukee Road. What is
Yeah,
261 doing?
Well, the Friends of the 261, they are planning to acquire the all the facilities that National Railway Equipment operated in Silvis, Illinois,
Okay.
and
Wow.
it's a huge facility. I don't know if the acreage or anything is listed in here, but huge facility. Their main shop building is over 400,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's huge.
And they just bought this?
I think they're in talks to buy it. And then
Okay.
they're still going to lease some of it out to NRE.
That's the agreement that I saw.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay.
agreement. I think that's been decided upon as the agreement.
But they're wanting to do this, get this up and going, and have it as a the largest steam locomotive museum and shop in the country.
And that would allow them to do a lot of contract work for others too. So
Oh yeah.
I think this means a lot of things for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's in kind of the center of the country, so
Mm-hmm. Be good for doing events.
yeah.
Well, that
what
is
else we
super
got?
exciting. I mean, I have actually never seen nor have had many interests to see 261. It's way out there for me, obviously, but oh boy, Strasbourg has monopolized a lot of steam repair work. I was talking to the Valley Railroad folks at the Big E about 97. And
they used they used Strasbourg for the wheels, I think, right?
hmm the driver centers and things. And 97 is actually going to be in service full time this year
Awesome.
because 3025 is running out of time and they need to save her for the Christmas season when they need all three engines. So it's going to be 97 and 40 on rotation for 2022, which is exciting. And I know that's kind of an aside from this, but if they can build out a locomotive facility out there that isn't, Cheyenne, and also isn't Wasatch.
We won't go on to Wasatch. I will go into it to the point of, hey, the court documents are a really fun read.
Oh yeah. I had to explain briefly what Wasatch was to somebody earlier today. I can't remember who, but I was just like, yeah, no, it was badness. It wasn't a fun time, and now they're done.
Yeah, there's some interesting tidbits on that I won't get into here.
Okay.
It's a fun read. It's a really fun read.
Hey, the Silva Shops complex, they have the millions of rainbow locomotives parked out front. Is that right?
Yep. Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
Are they staying there?
Some of them are, again, NRE is leasing it for 5 years after the sale date.
Okay.
Not to step on you there, Jader, but
No, that's fine. If I'm honest, I haven't read much of this.
I've read that
just
entire
haven't had time
article.
to like to skim it.
It's a very interesting read, and it could be a lot of things for a lot of people because it sounds like they want to do, again, contract work. It is a great facility to do display stuff for a museum complex.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. It could be a huge thing for a lot of people down the road, and I'll be curious to see if they go after any other engines too. It could be a great place to bring engines together.
Steamtown West.
Pretty much, actually. Although currently that moniker would go to IRM.
Right. No, I mean IRM is the IRM.
Yes. I need to go out there, but I haven't gotten out there yet.
I had the pleasure of
Same.
visiting last April, and God, there's so much to that museum. It's
Oh!
just this building after building after building.
Speaking of which, they're getting another one.
Yes.
Another
Building
Uh,
another barn.
I think I had that. I think I just binned that article because it had been
Oh.
sitting in here for a long while. You know, I don't have the IRM article anymore. But yeah,
Oh,
they
well.
are building another building.
I
Which
think it's
they
like
were.
barn 15.
Hmm. I saw the empty space where it would be
Mhm.
when I was there because they were. I think it's for a lot of their maintenance of way stuff.
It's for a number of
Right.
things. It should get a few more of the steam engines indoor too. Some
Yeah,
of the rough
that'll
ones.
be nice.
I could
30?
honestly see the Iowa Interstate QJ showing up here at some point. I mean, it's
Oh yeah.
fairly close.
So, getting the steam engines inside, you say? Rare Nazima, Pennsylvania. Please take notes.
Apparently they broke ground, but
I feel like they've broken ground every year for the last 7 years.
well, they broke ground. And then this nasty little thing that we won't mention that starts with a C derailed their plans for about a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, that's fair. Actually,
Anywho,
speaking of breaking
Communism,
ground, Brightline West has quote unquote made progress. Now, they're setting up their environmental permit, which they're hoping to get done by the end of the year. They also hope to open the line in about 3.5 years, which is really ambitious, considering. They haven't even nailed down where exactly they're going to go yet. They know that they've got to get out to Victor Valley or so, and then they're going to build a railroad complete with tracks and overhead catenary for power. Which, first of all, yay, overhead catenary. Second of all, yeah, alright, good luck. So, they also want to go beyond this. So they want to start linking other city pairs that don't have current high-speed transportation, or really much transportation at all, which is many city pairs, unfortunately. I also didn't know that they were originally Desert Express, which is
yeah. Desert Express, Express West, and then Brightline.
and Brightline West. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good luck to them.
Do you mind if I mention something on the Florida side?
Oh, you're more than welcome to mention something on the Florida side. I've got an article about that I'm coming around to sooner or later as well. Go ahead.
And I may be stepping on your article. I hope I'm
Don't
not.
worry about it.
It's been interesting because they've been starting to do the county zoning for getting to Tampa now.
Oh,
They got the county approvals to do so, which I don't know which route that is yet. I don't know if that's 417 or the convention center route they were looking at. The big hanging point is Universal Studios has been going, we want a train station, which is great.
yeah.
And Disney is going, but wait, you're closer than us. We want our train station first. And it's been a huge pissing match between those two companies.
You know what? Let them do it. Let them throw money at Brightline. Just
Hey, throwing money at Brightline. They got the new Bright Red number 2 a couple months ago.
Mhm.
I am all for that. Brightline has been doing some great work, and their passenger numbers have been coming up again since COVID. It sounds like they're back to normal operation levels.
Yep,
It
and
was-
even more than that, they've been doing their crew qualifications to Orlando.
They've
So-
gotten as far as Coco so far, which has been impressive to watch.
Hmm.
Not only that, but also to mention when Bright Red first got there, they doubled it up with, I think, Bright Red number 2 just got there. They doubled it up with Bright Green for their Polar Express trains, which is interesting because it's a full 8-car consist, which they hope to do in future. So,
That was a
preview
little
the
bit of a
future
proof
there.
of concept.
yes, exactly. And I'll be honest, if you look at the videos, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be the one that hates chargers, but I need a Brightline charger.
Yeah.
Florida is
Actually-
their natural environment.
Two things. Number one was I heard my first good report of chargers from not a direct industry source, but a secondhand individual. But the first
We won't talk
hey,
about
they're-
the 2020 charger availability numbers on Amtrak then.
Yeah, no, we won't. But
45%.
I've heard good things about their abilities, if not their maintenance habits.
Yes. Those things can take off like a bear out of hell.
Yeah. So, I want people to throw money at Brightline. I really wish they could stop throwing bodies and cars at Brightline, but Brightline did hit a car the other day. Thankfully,
Florida
nobody
man.
was killed. Yeah, Florida man.
Throw the right thing!
The other thing that I wanted to bring up, because we talked about full 8-car consists, brings me back to the Valley Railroad very briefly, which is they have now gutted the Ohio Central cars.
What are they going to do with them?
They're going to refurbish them and put them into passenger service as Valley Line cars.
Okay. I
So-
keep forgetting that they got those, and then I look through pictures, and they're just chilling in the background. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Give
just
them
there.
back.
Because I was talking to the Valley Line people, and they're like, "Yeah, it was a big year, and we've got so many balls in the air right now." Because I asked them about the track and like going further north, as I must do. And the answer is, well, we're not worried about that right now. We're not worried about the big pile of dirt. We're not worried about the $1 million bridge. We are running the dinner trains to good speeds, and that's it. We've got pedal bikes up north. That's it.
Can I take a segue off and get to my topic?
Go ahead.
Speaking of $1 million bridges,
Go on.
the local tourist railroad is currently in the very most process of driving themselves into the ground as fast as possible.
Using a bridge.
More by ignoring said bridge.
Oh, okay. We love this story. May I direct your attention to Pittsburgh?
The Coopersville and Marne, which is a local tourist railroad to me, they don't have any steam power. They run 4 vintage cars, and they're kind of the local de facto tourist railroad. Their main power is an SW9. The engines they own, well, there's a mixed bag. To start with a little context here, I should tell the story of their NW2 and their Alco RS1, both of which are cool-looking engines. Well, they got the RS1, and it was marked as running. So the brain trust behind this railroad decided that the best way to get this engine to fire over was to fill the cylinders with a mixture of diesel fuel, kerosene, and lighter fluid.
Huh?
What?
And it turned over. It ran great for about 10 minutes. And then one of the cylinders, well, that oil got a little bit, that mixture got a little bit further than they would like. It ignited behind the cylinder, and the cylinder went through the block.
Oh.
Oh, that's fun.
So
No.
that engine is kaboom. We have the
Is it this thing?
we have the NW2, which has a nice crack in the block and trees going out of it because the block went boom. We have their 50-ton center cab, which was close to going boom, so they rebuilt it. They haven't paid their mechanic yet. The locomotive is done. It is not green carded.
Oh,
They
no.
cannot run the thing. It is a finished locomotive they cannot run.
Nice.
They've previously been a for-profit company running with volunteers. Do you see the problem with this?
Yes.
They figured that out just recently. So there's been a whole lot going on behind closed doors of how do we set up a nonprofit company or a nonprofit group to take over the liability and the responsibility for the volunteer side. There have been talks. There have been disagreements higher up. The board has somewhat questionably elected new members. Apparently not all of the board was informed that these elections were taking place.
Oh, it sounds like every HOA I've ever heard about.
Well, the problem gets deeper. Basically, there are 3 bridges on that railroad. One of them is a bridge over the old Pennsy, that basically just needs filled in. The Pennsy has been gone since the late 60s. The other 2 are across major public roads, and both of them need work to the tune of about $1 million
Is it each?
each.
Oh, God.
So they have a choice. they can either run freight trains or passenger trains because they can only afford one. Suffice to say that between the legality side with their volunteers right now and that going to hell, all of their engineers have quit. They have 2 brakemen left, one of whom I know and is quitting. They have no train crews at all anymore.
No train crews.
Because the train crews are basically going, okay, this is, to volunteer here is now a liability. If I volunteer with this for-profit company, it goes into, more legal dealings. I won't go deeper in. They go away. The other side of it is they have more bridge work than they can afford. So they have a physical side to they may be going away. So the local tourist railroad, Coopersville and Barn, is currently in the process of digging a hole as deep as they can and as fast as they can.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting experience to watch. It's got a lot of people locally up in a tizzy. There's no idea what will happen to the line. Things have been discussed. My 10 cents is it'll probably get sold off, but that's not me saying anything officially. And if it doesn't get sold off, it'll make a nice rail trail. That's it.
Okay.
I wish I had a happier topic, but that's pretty much where I'm at.
That reminds me of one of the things that I was thinking about touching on was the Saratoga and North Creek. Because fun times in Saratoga and North Creek. In fact, there's a rail bike company making a bid for the line all the way up to Tahowas, which is the titanium mine at the very, very end. And that area hasn't seen trains in quite a long time. They have, let's see. I need to know what the situation is. So, yeah, they want to purchase the railroad itself, actually keep it open to freight services, and, presumably still use it for the bikes, because that's why they're here in the first place. But they noted that there are 2 customers already on the line. Both shippers expressed interest in the restoration of freight service way back before the Iowa Pacific bankruptcy and the Saratoga North Creek shutting down. Of course, the powers that be that were hanging in the wings for the Saratoga North Creek shutdown, including those who want this to become a multi-use trail and those who want it to simply go away, are also sort of putting in their bid. And the reason this group, Revolution Rail is the name of the bike group here, are sort of starting stuff is because the STB rejected a request to derail the state's request for abandonment of the line. So there's a lot in the air here.
Sadly, that sounds like a lot of different tourist railroads around the U.S.
Yes.
The rail bikes, though, are an interesting talking point. There was an article a while back in the FRA actually reviewing those things. So, hang on, they built these things. Are they actually legal? It sounds like the result of that has been an overwhelming yes, and it's actually been a help for a lot of different railroads. Going back to Coopersville example, they actually tried them. They're cool. The only thing is they don't deal well with public roads.
No.
You have to flag crossings, and even then you get a major crossing that's not gated, and I am out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been interesting to watch. For if you have good scenery, it's been a huge benefit for actually a lot of different railroads out there.
There's one. There's one over here in Newport that I've ridden, and they're actually the same people that are doing it in Cooperstown.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. We've been, I think, in the very early planning stages. Nothing's officially been said of doing rail bikes, but I think we talked about it.
That was pretty much the same thing that was done at Coopersville.
I want to just shine another light on this very briefly, because the The STB must declare the corridor officially abandoned before it can be put to another use, that being, a trail or a nothing. As I've previously mentioned when we brought up the Saratoga and North Creek, it's been this sort of push-pull between shaky alliance of folks that want the railroad to stop existing for one reason or another, and of course the industries and entrepreneurs and now bankrupt Iowa Pacific that wants the railroad to continue to exist. The reason I say a shaky alliance is because there is a group that wants a rail trail, and there is a group that, the line to Tahawas was built due to I believe something like wartime emergency to access this titanium deposit, and it was built through area that's supposed to be just marked as wilderness. It's parkland, and so they don't want there to be a trail there. They want there to be nothing at all. So, meanwhile, the STB is saying, well, let me think about this. And Rail Revolution is saying, here's $700,000 for, to start a bidding process, basically. And it was rejected by the STB because they said Revolution Rail is not a legitimate freight carrier. You guys are rail bikes. You guys don't do freight trains. And Revolution came back and said, okay, yeah, but we're going to file this thing to try to prove to you we're legit. So, I don't know. It's a really weird, multifaceted situation.
Actually sounds interesting.
Yeah, meanwhile, there's the auction going on for... The auction that Revolution Rail sort of inadvertently started for the whole line is going on. Meanwhile, all the bits and pieces of Iowa Pacific are being sold, including the BL2s, which have already gone somewhere else, I believe, and all the rolling stock. Yeah, this is the short one, the short version of the whole situation. One 700,000 stalking horse bid has been received, and anyone interested in beating that will have to put at least $750K or more. The sale will include track, associated infrastructure, the North Creek Depot included, which is where President Teddy Roosevelt was sworn in after learning that President William McKinley had been assassinated, which is an interesting piece of history.
Were those the two BL2s that ended up leading on CSX?
I believe so, yes. The blue,
okay,
if they were blue, then yes.
Blue and black.
Yep.
That was awesome.
Or blue and gray.
Wait, when did they lead on CSX? Wait, what?
They forget what it was on, but CSX needed local power, and they were available, so they led both of them.
I need a video
both
of this.
Online. I've seen photos. I don't remember where they were.
Okay.
If you find them, send them.
It was all over the internet for a while.
I want to see this.
There have been at least 4 bids for the whole line, by the way. The stalking horse bid is from Revolution Rail, mentioned that, which has stated it would contract with SMS rail lines to handle the freight business.
Yes,
so
please, yes.
That was their thing. That was sending to the STB like, hey, okay, we might not be legit, but if we get the rail line, they're going to do it. And we have another article here about the same thing. I did want to touch on this because, it's exciting. If Revolution Rail has the winning bid, it plans to work with New Jersey's SMS Rail to offer freight service to a gravel pit and garnet mine on the route. This would be the weirdest Uno reverse card we've seen in railroading in a little while, at least. Just having the rail bike agency bring back freight on a shutdown tourist line. I don't know. It's weird if you ask me. But you know what's weirder? TJ, would you mind talking to us about something weirder?
Or is it weird? I don't know.
It's weird. Yes. It is.
I don't know if that's how I describe it.
I would
describe it as
how about impractical?
Stupid.
Neat. There are many ways you can describe this.
Yeah.
Pointless.
So a bunch of former SpaceX engineers have gotten together and decided first we revolutionized internet banking, then we revolutionized cars, we fixed cars, and then we fixed subways, and then we fixed space, and now the next
fixed
logical
space.
step
Fix
With
space.
the power of flex tape.
the next step, the step between space and Mars is trains. So.
Yeah.
This
Space
new
train.
company is called Parallel Systems, has sought out to do just that. These are autonomous, self-propelled trucks, not like trucks, like rail trucks,
Your chum.
that go underneath containers and just move them around one at a time.
Like individual four-wheel trucks that would be self-propelled and autonomous. Here's the picture. I mean, it's been around the internet. I'm sure everyone watching this podcast has seen it. But here's their... I presume this is some sort of render.
Yeah, I just like...
Oh, no, this is real. This is on a test track. Okay.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was. Oh,
No, it's real.
It's
my
real.
God.
It's
Yeah,
a working
it's-
prototype.
It's real.
Bruh.
It's too real.
Dumb
Sometimes,
as hell is what it is.
The
sometimes,
future
like,
is now.
sometimes I
And I
wonder
don't like it.
who's writing this episode of.
Yeah, episode
Reality?
of This Earth. Also, I do want to say, just as an aside, just because they're engineers that are from SpaceX doesn't mean they were associated in all of Elon Musk's other projects.
No. They were. They have been around. They're the three engineers that started when he. They actually birthed him in the hospital.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Fair
They've been
enough.
around the whole time. they've been there through it all. I just think it's like, could you really take trains and I didn't think they could take trains and make them worse. Like, if you want to futurize trains, this is not the way to do it.
This is not the way.
In
No.
fairness,
Flying trains,
here's-
but no,
here's-
we have stupid truck trains.
in fairness, if you set up tracks to truck bay style points, because normally when you roll up a boxcar to an industry, the door's on the side of it. When you roll up a container to an industry, the door's on the back of it. That's something that's always sort of irked me. It's like, why couldn't they decide to standardize these things so you could roll up a container on a flat car to an existing boxcar port and not...
Well, here's the thing. They did do that. You just put a bunch of boxcars side by side and then have one platform on one side and then just walk through all the boxcars to get to one.
No more just putting doors in a container, as I think what else.
Yeah, you need doors on the side of the container.
Yeah.
The issue is boxcars are wonderful, but you can't pick them up and put them on a ship.
That's true.
yeah.
That is very true.
Well, I mean, you can, but it's a little extra effort.
You know what? We blame the white pass.
Yeah, thanks. You guys
Yeah.
started this.
But you know what I guess you could do in theory? You could do the boxcar thing just lengthwise rather than widthwise.
Yeah, you line them all up and you can walk through them. Like, you just have your track terminate at a building. That's
Yeah,
at the
but
end.
see, that's the thing. We just solved their idea, but added capacity by using an existing thing.
If I may, though,
Go ahead.
there's a problem with that. A boxcar, you walk through the center of it, and you have access to the sides. This, you have to go through the whole body, lengthwise, if you're going to do that. Which,
Yep.
if you're going to the back of a track for loading, doesn't really make sense.
Mm,
Right. Here's where I find this could be at least a little bit useful. This could save a ton of time switching a hypothetical industrial park with docks set up to use containers like this. The issue
But then
is
you'd have
we
to
don't
have
we don't transport containers like this.
Yes.
Well,
I think...
you'd also have to have a crane at said industry, wouldn't you?
Yes.
No, not necessarily. What I'm saying is if you build the loading dock such that instead of the track going alongside the building, the track just sort of backs up into it as a truck would.
Mhm.
And so you have this rail car just with the two trucks under it, just whoop, come right up to the building and stop, and you're done.
I think the biggest issue with these things is how they're marketing them. the use case scenario I can see to start with. Let's just blank slate. What can this thing do? Seaports are where I actually see this doing anything good, and even then, it'll be limited. But what you could do is you could basically, the containers coming off the ship, you have the jack trucks waiting there with a chassis.
Yep.
You could move them to a separate location in the ports, which would get them off the ships faster, and there is a legitimate use case scenario for them. However, what they're doing is they're building these things for, we can put multiple of these things together and run them in a long-distance unit. Well, you have to have batteries for each and every individual wheel set, and each and every individual truck has to communicate.
But Jake, we have no real way. What other way could we use to get electricity to a train?
Well,
Impossible.
I'm not even going to review that question. I think we could put these containers, we could roll these things called well cars up alongside a ship, and then I have this genius thing. We could hook up one big power source to it. What do we want to call that?
Okay, just 1 second. 1 second. I know where you're going with this. I just want to do a gripe about well cars real quick. Well cars, you can't use well cars for last mile, and that's a huge problem.
This is true. This is
not
true.
Not that this directly solves that, because if you want to put them in well cars long distance, then you still have to, transload them into a well car. But if you were to be able to use these in, say, 2 modes, one where it's powered and they can shuffle themselves off to industries, and 2 where it's unpowered and they can just be pulled like a normal train, that would be useful. But
this
that
gets
wouldn't
into
work
the road railer problem.
Yeah.
These chassis, the container, they're using the container as their chassis.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Which, no, those containers do not have enough mass. They would immediately fail any test the FRA put at them in terms of crashworthiness. And we've already seen some interesting results in crashworthiness tests with that Washington wreck a few years ago and that Charger. And those Talgo cars specifically. That's more what I look at, because the Talgo cars are now, those sets are being scrapped. Anyway, long story short with these things, they require so much technology and so much high value materials per truck that it just doesn't really make sense. There are good examples. For last mile, I completely agree. Containerization on well cars does not really work well for that. There could be some solution for that. It would be interesting to test with somebody like SMS at a intermodal yard. Load these things onto flat cars, take them to the buildings they go to. The only thing is you have to figure out how to unload them. And the Swifts have actually an interesting little thing where it's a well car that breaks in half and swivels out, so you can pull the trailers out of it.
The
that
Kinder
could be
Delight well car?
Yes.
It's awesome. Let me find a picture.
Kinder
I love
Surprise,
those things.
It's actually really pretty darn cool. I will give them that. It is well thought out. It's expensive for what it's doing, yes, but it is cool.
So, to break it down, right, you can't use these things as part of a train propelled by not them, because they're not strong enough. You can't use these things in a train propelled by themselves, because they won't have the capacity to do it.
Yep.
They'll just run out of battery immediately. They're a neat idea in terms of serving an industrial complex if the complex is set up to handle getting an intermodal container dropped off at their door, which nobody is right now, which I think is sort of a flaw in the intermodal system that this is sort of trying to correct, but it's barking up the wrong tree.
Part of the problem with that's going to be economies of scale too.
Yeah. The thing they need is not self-powered trucks, as neat as that might be. The thing they need is self-powered flat cars.
And even then, a flat car unit that can be tied into another train. Something with a good frame. And even then, I would actually argue towards a better switcher.
Yeah. No, you just need a better switch engine. I mean, you solve the economies of scale problem by not having an engine in every car.
Yes.
And, I feel like we figured that one out. And this
Okay.
is trying to solve a problem, but it's trying to solve the wrong problem, and it's trying to solve it in the wrong way.
Yes, TJ has gotten the
Image.
Yeah, that's
Kinder
the one.
Surprise car posted.
Yes.
Those are cool. Those
know
are
now I'm
actually really
laughing.
cool.
I know I'm laughing at my own joke here, but I love it when I make a dumb name for something and then everyone just runs with it.
It sticks. It's like the squirrel cages. I should clarify. Chargers.
Oh, okay. That is not what I was
Hmm.
thinking of when you said squirrel cage. but,
With
okay.
the Siemens Chargers, they have that vent on the side that's lit up like a
Yep.
Christmas tree, and you could almost imagine a little squirrel running a little hamster wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
So they've been nicknamed squirrel cages by the entire local Grand Rapids railfan community.
See, squirrel cage to me is like, I think it's like part of an Alco, like part of the blower or something.
Fair enough. I could
Can
see
I have
that.
your Alcos?
I might have a picture. of
Can
it.
I have your Alcos?
No.
Never forget. I just the two that come to mind where I made a name and people ran with it now. So this one, and then I named the giant Mexican 2662, whatever it is. It's the 3-foot gauge Malay, the Mexican Malay, the HR2 or HR1 that's going
1309, but
into
narrow gauge.
that's going into Railroads Online. I called it Chonkosaurus Mex. And,
I've never heard.
and that just became its name immediately, and also calling 1309 the double chooch because it's a compound. Yeah, so the Kinder Surprise card, that's a good solution.
Yes.
They have rail served IKEAs.
They do, actually. You've seen that one video, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
I disagree with that guy almost completely.
Well,
Okay.
It's interesting to watch, but I think a lot of his things, you need to bear in mind how the actual supply chain is set up in the U.S. We have a lot more final mile. We have a lot more long distance stuff. So
Yeah, we're a huge country.
yes, so
huge.
his video is interesting because it argues for electric very hard, but we don't have the capacity really to support that in any way, shape, or form. Catenary on UP will not happen. Yes, they've looked into it. Don't ask how I know.
Well, we need to. I think if we're talking about electrics in that capacity, UP is looking into. Well, UP has expressed interest in this parallel systems bit, and we'll see where that goes. But I believe UP is also on the list to receive a bunch of battery engines from Wabtec.
20 of them, yep.
Yeah. Oh, I actually have an
There
article
was
on that.
10.
Here. Yeah. No, 20 battery electric locomotives for yard service.
I do want to, as long as we're talking on this as well, CP, or is it CP or CN, is dealing with those hydrogen engines.
Yes.
Those
Yeah.
are interesting.
Do we have an article for it?
We do actually. In fact, we have a couple of them.
Where are they? The hydrogen buttons?
Yeah, we have
Yeah, CP hydrogen. Here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4 blocks of articles about the CP hydrogen engines, which admittedly I haven't really looked into. But I'll just
Rebuilt,
I'll
I
take
think,
these out.
SD60s.
I'll put these up here just so we have them all if we want to sift through them a little bit. But UP springing for battery stuff at least is a step in the right direction. Someday having more catenary, or at least expanding the system a little bit. I feel like the New Haven screwed us all over when they didn't maintain the EP5s, and so electric freight sort of went out the window. With,
Well, we could
Penn
argue
Central.
that with New Haven, Milwaukee, a number of people, number of operators. But I will say, I think actually the hydrogen locomotives make sense because there's a lot less infrastructure you have to maintain. And if you're worried about the emission side of things, they're actually really clean. So it will be interesting. I'm actually more excited about those hydrogen engines just because I think long term they offer a better solution.
If
Yeah.
they can manage to make them, if they can get the power out of them they want to. The only
sounds
issue
like-
is being that hydrogen has less energy density, but if
Yes.
they can manage to make it work, it would be really cool. I mean, everything in Halo runs on hydrogen, so maybe we're just moving towards that future.
Yeah, I mean there are some hydrogen cars out there now too, but I think they kind of. The thing is, like, I saw a little bit of a boom in hydrogen cars, and then they kind of flopped. Like they kind of like went away a little bit. Maybe it's just like, big electricity suppressing the hydrogen car market
This-
or something.
this is actually
I think I know
interesting.
why, but go ahead, Jake.
The infrastructure.
Yes.
This is an argument for railroads here, actually, because as we've seen with the steam era, if a railroad thinks something is more efficient, they control the infrastructure. They can change it.
Yep.
So going from steam to diesel is a great example here because they had to build all their diesel fueling facilities and all that stuff. But they realized that the numbers didn't lie, so they did that.
Mhm.
Whereas for a consumer electric car or a consumer hydrogen car, there's a lot more that goes into it because those are all businesses in themselves.
That's
So-
why you can see some transit agencies have bought and stuck with hydrogen-powered vehicles because they
Yes.
control all of their infrastructure, and they can just have a hydrogen fueling station at their bus depot or whatever.
Mhm.
And, and everyone's happy. I mean, you don't need to worry about trying to convince gas station owners to install hydrogen pumps, and
Mhm.
that isn't a problem with electric cars because you can plug them in at home.
Mhm.
Whereas I don't know about you, but I don't have a hydrogen tank in my backyard.
Yeah. So
Not
I
yet.
Not yet, yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to watch how this proceeds. I think this is something we can only speculate at this point, but I think between battery locomotives and the hydrogen locomotives overall, I think that there is a really interesting time to watch this stuff.
Yep.
I agree.
We're entering an era in locomotion where we see a little bit of a shakeup in the tier list, perhaps a
Mhm.
little bit of a possible change in the natural order of things, so to speak. It's been since the turn of the 20th century.
Since we had a shake-up like this.
Yeah, the shift towards, okay, well now we have coal-powered things and we're moving towards diesel and gasoline-powered things, but for a brief fleeting moment you had gasoline cars, steam cars, and electric cars all sharing the road, and now we're moving in a direction of, now there are different, the power paradigm has
Mm-hmm.
become
It's
less
back
clear.
again.
Yeah. But will we see these little autonomous trucks rolling around?
God, I hope not.
Ideally, no.
Nah.
I hope
Yeah.
they have the same fate as those autonomous food robots that get beat up.
Are we
What?
going to go beat up a robotic truck? Is that what we're going to do? we're going to take the law into our own hands.
Can we leave this as outdated technology with one simple thing?
Okay.
Ace 3000.
No. Bring
Yeah.
that back. We want the Ace 3000.
Yeah.
Well,
We deserve the A3000 with like the past 3 years
if we're
since like Harambe.
if we're actually looking at turbines, the C&O turbines, they've actually been going through and finding some old records on them.
Yep.
The numbers
Yeah.
are actually a lot better for the C&O turbines than anyone thought. They were really good. The reliability was better than was advertised, and they actually had a lot of horsepower at low end, and they were fairly efficient at low end. So it's really interesting. I think C&O Technical and Historical Society got their hands on like 3 different crates of C&O turbine documents. And that's been fascinating to go through because the numbers are actually a lot different than everyone thought they'd be.
The
need
secret
to
documents,
just-
comrade.
Apparently,
just be a fucking member at this point.
apparently the whole deal was C&O wanted to get rid of them and basically downplayed their success. So something legitimately interesting to look into. There were some articles on it at one point. I encourage you all to go forth. It is really an interesting read.
Do you
Interesting.
have
Yeah,
a link for them?
I like the C&O turbine truther. That's where we are right now on the spectrum. I saw a HO scale John Henry pulling a train at the Big E. That was neat.
Those are cool.
Yeah.
They are cool.
I can't be quoted on originating this statement, but they do kind of look like something out of Tron if you put the right lights on them.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
big black, like, I don't know, whatever they are. Anyway, well,
Big,
that's
long, black locomotives.
yes,
What I
exactly.
got big, what I got black.
Thank you.
You can't have expected it to go anywhere
Oh,
else. at this
absolutely.
point.
I was like, all right, I'm going to say enough things to trigger the RCR reference, and then we'll move on. So, I
It's for the Cold
think
War.
I don't know if I have anything to advertise. We put up the 4th episode of the Real List, which I advertised last time. It's time for latest train on Amtrak, unless anybody else has any other advertisements for their own shenanigans.
Nope.
I think so, no.
Not really.
Okay, well, like, comment, subscribe, blah, 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 that jazz. Go check out the Iron Horseman community channel. And it's time to play latest train on Amtrak, everyone's favorite game where we witness the pain of hundreds of commuters. So, what's everyone's guesses?
Don't fail me now, Mr. Builder.
Empire Builder, which direction?
Oh, crap. Normally it's worse coming out of California. Let's do Chicago bound.
Chicago bound, okay. Anybody else? Who else? Who's next?
Let's go the eastbound Zephyr.
Eastbound Zephyr, okay. So Western trains. 2 eastbound Western trains. TJ, Dean?
Eastbound Lakeshore Limited.
Eastbound Lakeshore. Always a fun gamble. Let's see, is that one on the system? Eastbound Lakeshore is no longer... Oh, wait, there it is. Found it. TJ?
Which one of the chiefs did someone say?
Someone said
Nobody
the
said
Zephyr. Eastbound Zephyr. Nobody said the Chief.
Well, I'll do the westbound chief.
Westbound Chief. Let's start there. The Southwest Chief to Los Angeles, 1 hour, 9 minutes late at Gallup, New Mexico. There's another one that just left Kansas City. It is 4 minutes late. Meanwhile, the Zephyr to Chicago is 1 hour and 6 minutes late at Fort Morgan, Colorado. Or predicted to be, anyway. The Empire Builder to Chicago is 6 minutes late in North Dakota. The other 2 are 3 minutes late and on time. Those are both approaching Spokane.
The Builder has failed me.
The Builder has failed you, I'm sorry. The Lakeshore Limited literally just left Chicago Union Station. It's on time.
Oh, damn.
Let's go over some other highlights before we get to the latest train on Amtrak. The Sunset Limited to New Orleans has almost arrived. It is 3 hours late. There are a bunch of surfliners that are...
Wait, the what?
The Sunset Limited.
No. Before that.
Which,
The city of New Orleans?
no.
Oh.
The Lakeshore Limited to New York just left Chicago. There are a bunch of Pacific surfliners that are an hour or more late. I don't know what happened out there. The Carolinian to Charlotte is 3 hours and 42 minutes late. That sucks. There's a regional that's 3 hours late. It was coming from Washington, weirdly enough, not Newport News. There's an Acela that's an hour and 22 minutes late. It was coming from Boston. I presume that is weather related. And finally, the latest train on Amtrak, the Silver Star to Miami, is approaching its last run of stops. It's in southern Florida, and it is 6 hours and 49 minutes late. That is the latest train on Amtrak.
How's Canada doing?
Canada's doing okay. The Canadians 2.5 hours late. So
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good for Canada.
it's pretty good for Canada.
2 hours, 45 minutes on the Canadian.
Yeah, 2 hours. I just wanted to save syllables, honestly. 2 hours 49.
Fair enough.
So it's time for terminations. Although I wanted to pick out something. Although we covered a lot of what I did want to talk about. I wanted to pick out something. Oh yeah, here's something fun. Here's my termination. Guess what? So speaking of Talgos going away, those Talgos that were supposed to be used in Wisconsin are now becoming the long-awaited sequel to the Saudi Zephyr. They are the Nigerian Talgos. They have been purchased, and they are going to Africa.
I bless the trains down
Yeah.
in Africa.
Commuter service in Lagos, Nigeria.
Damn it, he's
Cool.
right.
That's so funny. This is about the last place I expected a Talgo to go, but these are the rhinos, right? They'll fit right in.
You know, that actually works. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Anyway, Jader, go ahead.
Okay. So the second link I have, you can use either one. I don't. Well,
I'll send them both.
yeah, send them both. Okay, so the second link, that's a slideshow that I found over I found like around Halloween, but it's of this guy, I guess, that took like a month-long trip to China in the late 80s. They were still running Steam. It's such a, like, I've watched it probably like 10, 15 times at this point. It's so good. It's just a really, really good story. Not like not like a super heartfelt story, but you know, it's interesting nonetheless. And it's Steam. And then in the related thing, found this, and they linked it at the specific time.
Mm-hmm.
I want a model of a QJ now.
King John.
QJs are serious stuff.
They make a hell of a noise.
It's weird
Especially two of
seeing steam engines just doing their normal steam engine thing surrounded by concrete infrastructure like this. Modern concrete infrastructure. It boggles the mind.
Yeah.
Also, they have
But
such tiny wheels. It's so cute.
They make a hell of a noise though. Like, oh my god. I love it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
TJ.
Chinese Steam.
I agree. I like Chinese Steam too. That's it.
Okay. Rail?
I'm going to go with a video that has been circling the internet of Repton, former Steamtown residents' boiler test on the North Yorkshire moors, because it's interesting, exciting, and terrifying.
Oh, no. Oh, poor Repton. No. I want no bad things to happen to that poor man.
Oh, it is bad.
Oh, no. I've had such a soft spot for that engine ever since I found out he served at Steamtown. Anyway.
I will leave it as under the boiler with a cold boiler in the middle of a hydro test with an air hammer painting rivets.
Why?
Watch the clip. It's bad.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch it.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
Anyway, Dean.
So the Alco fandom is dying. So repost if you are a true alcoholic.
Can I have your Alcos?
May that meme never die.
Someone had to do it.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for coming on. I need to do my little outro here. Special thanks to you guys. Thanks you for coming on, all of you, for suffering with me through this late night podcast. We did pretty good for time. And thanks to the viewers, of course, for suffering through this at whatever time you're watching it. Thanks to Wes
at the rail yard.
Thanks to Wes and Steve of SteamLocomotive.com. Without you, we could not have Locomotive Versus, and possibly Locomotive Versus the card game coming to a foamy group near you. And to Virtual Railfan for not yet copyright striking us for using your cameras. We'll see you all next week, and in case of an emergency, call Conrail. Goodbye!
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Venus.